Good evening, Zimbabwe. This is Change Radio News. Today is Wednesday, 5 November 2025. The news is read by Rutendo Chinzara. Here are the news headlines. Tshabangu accused of fronting plots to extend Mnangagwa's term. Zimbabwe Gender Commission probe leads to Magaya's arrest. Zimbabwe forecasted to receive normal to above normal rainfall in 2025 to 2026 farming season. And now for the news in detail. Self-appointed CCC Secretary General Tshabangu is alleged to be orchestrating a court case to support Mnangagwa's 2030 term extension plan. Judicial sources say Tshabangu approached Ibetuli Kazulu Secretary General Mbuso Fuzwayo to file a constitutional court challenge claiming the plan is illegal. The case is reportedly intended to be dismissed, providing legal justification to extend Mnangagwa's rule from 2028 to 2030. The application was allegedly prepaid by a young advocate linked to Mashonaland East Minister Itai Ndudzo, a ZANU-PF MP. Analysts warn the alleged scheme reflects past tactics of using the courts for political gain. A Zimbabwe Gender Commission official says the constitutional body's long-running investigation led to the arrest of Prophetic Healing and Deliverance Ministries leader, Prophet Walter Magaya, on fraud and rape charges. The commissioners say that the probe, which began in 2019, gathered overwhelming evidence after receiving complaints of sexual exploitation and abuse. The findings were submitted to authorities, leading to Magaya's arrest last Saturday. The commission, established under Section 245 of the Constitution, has the mandate to recommend prosecution for gender-related rights violations. Magaya, who has also been hit by corruption, probes and mounting debt, is facing possible imprisonment and financial ruin as his legal troubles deepen. The Meteorological Services Department has forecast normal to above normal rainfall across the most of Zimbabwe for the 2025 to 2026 farming season. MSD Director Rebecca Manzo said November to January will see above normal rains in much of the countries, including Manicaland, Masvingo, Midlands, and Matabeleland South, while northern and western regions are expected to receive normal to above normal rainfall. She urged farmers to consult agri-tech officers and delay planting until the onset of effective rains, adding that temperatures are likely to be warmer than normal in November, cooling from December through February. Mnangagwa's claim that Zimbabwe has halved its poverty rate has been met with skepticism. Speaking at the World Summit for Social Development yesterday, Mnangagwa said poverty fell from 62% to 38.3% between 1995 and 2019, calling it one of Africa's most remarkable achievements. Critics and analysts, however, question the figures, citing persistent hunger following the land reform program, continued reliance on the World Food Program, and low disposable incomes. They also say citing improved school enrollment does not reflect employment opportunities for graduates. Labour economist and African Democrat President Linda Masarira is criticized African leaders for attending the inauguration of Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan, calling it an endorsement of a sham election. Masarira cited SADC election observers' reports of voter intimidation, suppression of opposition campaigns, and restrictions on freedoms of assembly and expression. She accused regional leaders of betraying Africa's liberation ideals and urged SADC to uphold democracy, human dignity, and the integrity of its institutions. Former Zinara CEO Frank Chitukutuku has forfeited assets worth US $30 million onto the state after failing to explain the source of his wealth. The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZACC, says the case highlighted how some high-ranking officials amass wealth through unscrupulous means, only to see their empires collapse. Critics have called for consistent action, arguing that other wealthy individuals with unexplained assets, such as Wikinel Chivayo, should also be investigated. Major stakeholders have urged the Zimbabwean government to adopt the UN Plan of Action on the Safety of Journalists to strengthen media freedom. Speaking in Bulawayo on Tuesday, Media Alliance of Zimbabwe, MAZ, coordinator Nigel Nyamutumbu called for the formalization of the police media action plan to protect journalists amid concerns over recent arrests. He said MAZ will partner the Information Ministry for National Conference next week, while police spokesperson Inspector Nomalanga Masebele welcomed continued collaboration to promote public access to credible information. The family of the late Rosalie Chigariro has paid tribute to her generosity after she became the first Black Zimbabwean to donate her body to medical science at the University of Zimbabwe. Chigariro, who died in July 2021 at the age of 64 in Johannesburg, contributed to medical education through the university's Department of Anatomy. Her remains were cremated on 24 October, coinciding with what would have been her birthday, following the conclusion of research and teaching. Emerged Railway Properties ERP, a joint venture between Zimbabwe and Zambia Railways, commemorated the 120th anniversary of the Victoria Falls Bridge on Tuesday. Built in 1904 and commissioned in 1905, the historic bridge is a symbol of regional integration and engineering excellence, serving as a key trade and transport link between Southern and Northern Africa. The Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce says government delays in paying contractors are causing a cash flow crisis in construction, agriculture and mining. ZNCC says Treasury values for money checks have trapped liquidity and slowed tax compliance. The Chamber is urging the Finance Ministry to clear verified invoices within 90 days and issue tradable Treasury bills to settle arrears. It also criticized high taxes and the 2% IMTT, saying these raise costs and discourage electronic transaction, and called for reforms to ease the burden on formal businesses and restore confidence in the economy. The Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries say the country is showing signs of deflation, with inflation remaining negative for the third month running. October month-on-month inflation fell 0.4%, reflecting weak consumer demand, while year-on-year inflation dropped from 82.7% in September to 32.7%. CZI warns that the slowdown signals a shrinking economy rather than effective government policy and calls for stronger reforms to boost growth and confidence. In entertainment news, rapper T.I. Gonzi has accused Prophet Walter Magaya's bodyguard of defrauding him of $6,000 over a fake car. The musician Tinashe Gonzaira says he bought the vehicle at Yada Hotel, the preacher's ministry headquarters, and later found it unregistered with fake plates. He appealed to President Emerson Mnangagwa in an open letter after failing to recover his money. Analysts question the timing of the complaint, suggesting it may be linked to ongoing controversies surrounding Magaya. In international news, Tanzanian police have lifted a nighttime curfew in Dar es Salaam imposed last week after deadly election protests. The unrest saw nationwide internet cuts, school closures, and shortages of basic goods as shops and transport services shut down. Authorities say life is slowly returning to normal, with some shops reopening and traffic resuming. Though fuel queues persist, families are still searching for a bearing relatives killed in clashes between security forces and opposition supporters who rejected the election results as fraudulent. And finally, in sports news, the Zimbabwe Football Association ZIFA has appointed Romanian coach Mario Marinica as head coach of the senior men's national team on a one-year contract. Marinica, who previously managed Malawi and Liberia, will lead the team in AFCON preparatory matches this November against Algeria and Qatar, with squads likely selected before his appointment. Zimbabwe Cricket has announced that former national captain Sean Williams' international career has come to an end after he entered rehabilitation for drug addiction. The 39-year-old all-rounder withdrew from the T20 squad before the World Cup Africa qualifier in September. During an internal probe into his withdrawal, he revealed he had been struggling with drug addiction and voluntarily sought treatment. Williams, who scored nearly 9,000 runs and took more than 150 wickets across all formats, has made himself unavailable for national selection, and Zimbabwe Cricket says he will not be picked again. To end the news bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Tshabangu accused of fronting plot to extend Mnangagwa's term. Zimbabwe Gender Commission probe leads to Magaya's arrest. Zimbabwe forecasted to receive normal to above normal rainfall in 2025 to 2026 farming season. And that concludes our bulletin for today. We thank you for listening. From myself, Rutendo Chinzara, and the entire team at Change Radio, we wish you a good night.